Oh my gosh, such a mystery in here. Wow.
I just think of you tied up to this thing and, you know, something's going down. And it's like, there's no cameras in here, are there?
So this is our last room, chamber.
There's no security here though, right?
Not official security, although one of our desk mistresses is a former pro wrestler, so we've got that going for us.
Do you wish there were cameras? Are you guys allowed to talk about how much sessions cost?
Would you like me to state
I
that?
would love that.
This is an entirely legal place, right?
Yes.
You were saying that sometimes clients will try to take pictures of you guys?
Yeah, it's kind of like a recent thing where clients will like secretly take photos.
Okay, that's the thing. You're allowed to ask a question and I'm allowed to say no.
How are you? I'm fabulous. Matt, nice to meet you. I'm filming already. Do you mind?
Yeah.
Okay, I figured you knew the. I love the hair.
Thank you.
So bright and fun. Oh my gosh, such a mystery in here. Wow.
I will say when we go in,
Yep.
our desk mistress is still here, and
Okay.
since she hasn't consented to being
Yep.
on camera yet.
Okay, cool. I'll flip it so it's on me and then I won't show anyone else. Yes, of course. Gosh, what a cool spot. It seems so like. Yeah, exactly.
Family area.
I know.
Expect of John.
Wow.
This is our main area where we'll like accept appointments here over by the desk, as well as I'll hang out when we're not in session.
Wait, so you were on shift today, right?
I was on shift today.
What were your hours?
So we have a day shift or a night shift. So I did the day shift today, which is from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then night shifts are the reverse, which would be 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. So they're 6-hour shifts and you can kind of just hang out here, use it as kind of like a co-working space if you're not actively in a session. Or if you are, then you get to go play upstairs. We introduce ourselves downstairs, can kind of check in downstairs, and then if they decide they want to interview one of us, we'll come and just sit right around here. And this is where we talked about doing just 5 minutes of checking in, describing what they're into, describing limits, describing any health issues, and really just making sure you're a fit for that session.
Is there a lot of times where you're not a fit? Where you're like, oh, I'm not interested in that, or oh, that makes you feel unsafe, or
not a lot, but I definitely have said no before. And that's also something I love about being here is that as a recovering people pleaser, I feel so supported and empowered to say no. And this is a place, even in my interview, that they said like no is a full sentence. And you don't have to justify why you don't want to do a session. You don't need to explain yourself. Even if it's just vibes and you're not feeling it, that's an acceptable no.
This video is sponsored by Adam & Eve, your one-stop shop for everything from romantic nights to solo self-care. They've got toys, lingerie, and everything in between to keep things exciting. Head to adamandeve.com and use code MATT for 50% off of one item. Free shipping in the US and Canada, plus free rush processing. And don't worry, they ship everything super discreetly, so your package is your business. Thank you again to Adam & Eve, and now back to the video.
So we are gonna step into parlor right now.
Okay.
And we do have the names of each room are on the door.
Wow.
And this is all like decorated and curated by the owner, who has such an incredible interior design aesthetic and just eye. This room often gets used more for like a foot session. So, you know, kind of sit here and have your client be on the floor and engage with them that way. Or you could also do, I love this for like religious play, or even like a headmistress's office, so some school teacher play. There's so much that you can do in here. Maybe you violated some rule at school, let's say. I know something I used to get in trouble for, because I did go to Catholic grade school in Chicago. So imagine walking to school in the dead of winter in my winter boots, and I would forget my school shoes, and I would get in trouble for that. And so it could be something like that, use that to inspire a scene. And so it's somebody has forgotten their school shoes, and they have to come here and tell me why, like, do they know what they did wrong and why it was wrong? Yes or no, and that's gonna dictate whether it's more of a praise session or a punishment session.
Mm-hmm. Do different rooms have different prices because it's a smaller room, or like less stuff, or no?
So all same pricing across the board.
Yes.
The second room I'm gonna show you.
Okay, cool.
Which it's called Lucidity. and it's one of our other little rooms, and it is my favorite space to use when I do Cult of Seraphina initiation rituals, and I use it as the Temple of Seraphina, so you can come on in. Wow. And it has this beautiful custom bondage wall. All of the fetish furniture is by Downtown Willie. Highly recommend looking them up because amazing.
Love it.
Love the colors, love that you can feel the nice texture. It can be very nice to just kind of lean against this, and whether you're using rope or cuffs to get bound here. And we've got this nice little wall piece where I can hang all of my favorite floggers and whips and paddles and other good toys.
So nice to meet you, Serafina. Thank you for coordinating this with me.
My pleasure. It's so nice to meet you too. I'm a huge fan. I have been doing this for less than a year, professionally at least.
How did you find yourself getting involved in the world?
It's something that I've always fantasized about, even when I was a kid, and my first exposure that I remember was in the movie Charlie's Angels, the scene with Lucy Liu.
Perfect.
I've always said, like, I wanted to either be a spy, an actor, a therapist, or a dominatrix, and that they all are kind of iterations or variations of the same thing. And then finally, I moved to LA. I actually met an escort at a party, was talking to them, and they mentioned, they're like, so, like, why don't you? Like, why don't you pursue this? And I didn't have an answer. So I went home and Googled how to become a dominatrix in LA.
Do you have days where you don't have any sessions and you're just kind of hanging out all day?
Yeah, that does happen. Honestly, it's kind of rare. Like, I feel like there's different parts of the year that are, like, we call it, like, more dead than others. So, like, tax season, I think, like, March, April is more slow. And then, like, the heat of the summer, like, being in LA, like, I'd say July and August are a bit slower. But then other parts of the year it picks up a lot.
Do you always wear the glasses? Is that part of your, like, look?
So it is part of the brand in general.
Do you also do it for privacy reasons?
It definitely started as, like, protecting the anonymity, and as I've gotten more into this and wanting to really make this my career, it's less about that and more just about, like, having a visual distinction between pro self and private self.
You're full. You show your face and your hair and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years. There's been a lot of, like, I just recently came out more publicly, but my real name is not, like, my real name's not Rose. So, but I don't dress like this walking down the street because I wish I could. But I can dress like it here. So this is called Qualification.
I've been excited for this room.
This is one of my favorites.
Oh!
In here.
Oh my
Red and pink
gosh.
are my favorite colors, and I'm a huge leopard girl, so this is one of my faves. This too, the pink spanking bench really does something.
Wait, so dollification, so guys can come here and cross-dress, I'm assuming?
Yes, we can also do other sessions, like I've done, like, ball torture over there on the couch, or spanking, or anything like that.
I'm gonna sit next to you. Do you mind? What's your better side? What side do you like?
You can sit right there.
Okay,
It's
cool.
great. Thank you for asking. It's very sweet.
Of course. So you said you've been in this world for, what, 7 years now?
So I've been, like, lifestyle, so I've been in the kink probably for, like, almost 8 years, and then professionally it was 5 last December.
This is an entirely legal place, right?
Yes, it is a registered business.
What makes this different than, let's say, like a brothel? Are you not having sex with your clients here?
There's no penetration of any kind here, correct?
Oh, that's so interesting. I thought that could be negotiated as well.
So no penetration, not even with, like, no toys. Like, we don't do pegging here. That would not be considered legal. There's no exchange of bodily fluids, no breath play, no edge play.
Do you remove your clothes?
It's up to the individual, and at a minimum, we do keep our, like, lingerie on, or, like, I keep, like, my bodysuit on.
So why is it considered sex work then?
That's a great question.
I say that because it's important for me to, like, be in alignment with my community and, like, the activism I do. I am a skinny, cis, straight white woman. Like, I speak out about this because people who are on the streets, or trans, people of color, people who are disabled, like, those are the people that, like, need the rights more than someone like me. Like, because I'm more palatable and acceptable, like, the least I can do is talk about, like, the needs of my community. When you're a sex work activist, or when you're standing up for sex workers, you're standing up for people that come from so many different marginalized communities. Because sex work, whether it's the club or this work or being a cam girl or whatever, like, a lot of people are neurodivergent, a lot of people are disabled, a lot of people like can't hold down real work for one thing or the other, right? It's like when you stand up for sex workers, when you're talking about us, it's like people that come from all different kinds of, from margins of all different kinds.
How many people were on today for your shift?
I want to say there was like 6 people here today, which
Wow.
is pretty average. And usually we try to have a mix of like mistresses, switches, and submissives, so that clients can have like a range of choices.
Wow, so all 6 of you are just in here waiting for your clients or something, or?
Yeah, we usually, and like Rose said earlier, we do have a nice common area upstairs that we'll show you that we can go as well. But usually, we'll all be down here, and it can be really fun because I view it as a place to catch up with my friends, and it's so nice that for the first time in my life, I can genuinely say that I don't just I actively love every single person that I work with.
So I've done a lot of episodes of as well, and they do something called a lineup where if a guy comes in, they all come in, they line up, and the guy can pick who he wants out of the lineup. Do you do something like that here?
We don't line up, and we will, if someone just walks in and isn't sure like who specifically they're wanting to see, we will all, wherever we're sitting, introduce ourselves and then give them the opportunity to interview one or as many of us.
And are you all picking your own prices, or is it set prices here?
Since Natalie started Legacy, we all have the same prices. Everybody has the same prices. Actually really nice. I've worked in dungeons where you can set your own prices, and it's low-key kind of annoying because people will be like, oh, like, well, your price is this. Who's the cheapest? I'm going to go with them. Even this is a totally like above ground commercial dungeon. But even within this, it's like there are gray areas because sex work is criminalized. If it was decriminalized, we could talk openly about rates. We could talk openly about what we do and we don't do. We could like discuss what we're comfortable with, like in a way that like, because it's still kind of like a gray area, we like can't. All that does is make it less safe for sex workers, or make it less safe because we can't openly discuss what we can or can't do. We don't do any kind of like penetration or anything.
Do you wish that penetration was legal in the dominatrix world?
I just wish it was all decriminalized so we could each decide what we wanted to do without like the fear of like being, of like the police getting involved or something.
I think a lot of people that aren't in sex work but that are pro-sex work think, oh, sex work should be legal. And they mean it with good intentions, obviously. But then I talk to sex workers, and a lot of you feel like it should just be decriminalized.
Yeah, definitely, because legalization is going to be old white men who have never been a sex worker, but probably have hired sex workers putting those laws in place. You look at places like New Zealand that has been decriminalized, like, it's amazing. Like, you can literally, like, work at a brothel and be like, hey, like, I can't come in today. Or, like, because it's decriminalized, that means that it's, like, it's safer for everybody. Legalization, it gets really, really confusing. Even things like the Nordic model, it makes hiring a sex work criminalized. It makes it criminalized on the client's end, but then it just makes it more dangerous for the sex workers. So what we found is decriminalization is the best. It puts us in the driver's seat of like what we actually need versus someone who doesn't know making the laws about us.
You had no professional experience in BDSM prior to coming here.
Mm-hmm.
So who taught you the ropes? Because I know BDSM, there's a lot of play. You need to be coached to do this. Otherwise, it could be dangerous. So who taught you what to do, how to do it?
So it was a lot of the people here. Again, and with the way that I started, not having that pro experience, that was part of what I negotiated with the owner, was that I would be honest about that. In my bio, I stated, like, I am new to this world. I am looking for clients that are open to playing with somebody new. And especially if you're open to teaching somebody new, that's a kink for some people. Like, that drew a specific set of clientele. And then there was the coworkers. If we're not in session, we're often skill sharing with each other, and you just have to ask.
This is really one of those things that like you learn through mentorship, like to really know how to be a dominatrix, especially like being a submissive, you're kind of like, you're almost taught to fend for yourself more because you like there's not really as much like information and there's not really like as much training. You have to really kind of like learn to like top from the bottom. But for being a dominatrix, there's a lot of hard skills, right? Like you want to know how to hit the body, how to tie the body up, like what happens if someone faints, what questions to ask them to make sure that they're going to be in a position that they're comfortable, to make sure there's no medicines that are gonna like cause them to not be able to do something. Like you are hurting people, but within that you are hopefully practicing risk-aware consensual kink. You want to cause damage in the right way, right? Like if I'm spanking you, I want to spank you in like the right part of your body. If I'm flogging you, I'm not going to want to flog your kidneys, right? Like you have to be aware of like anatomy, of safety, and of also like just like knowing your own boundaries and limits and stuff. Like it's a lot. So those are skills that like, yeah, you can read in a book, but really like the way these skills have been like passed down is through hands-on mentorship.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to come talk. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
How long have you been in this world for?
I would be going into 19 years soon.
Oh my gosh, so you're like the veteran of veterans.
I have been around a very long time. I started when I was 18, and I haven't stopped since. I've been going from New York City to here, dungeons throughout both.
Are you just a dominatrix or are you a sub?
I'm a dominatrix. I'm a dominance. I do not sub. I do not switch.
You kind of give me dominatrix energy. Like you're very like in a I like it, but it's like interesting.
Well, sometimes you got to be a little stern to get things done. Mm-hmm. And I like to get things done. New York City BDSM versus LA BDSM is very different.
Is New York more intense or what?
Yeah, it is. There's a lot more scary things going on in New York and a lot more risque things, I would say. Whereas LA is a little bit more relaxed, chill. I see a lot more of the tamer fetishes out here as opposed to the very high intensity ones I did in New York.
Are you willing to talk about the high intensity ones?
I don't really get people asking for single tail whips out here as much as I did in New York, even though that is something I specialize in. I don't get a lot of the more brazen things like forced inhalation for smoking fetishes or being like cigarettes put out on like I did in New York as I did. I don't get that here. Here I'm getting a lot more of a, hey, I'm learning this, I'm beginning in this, and I just want to, play with somebody who knows what they're doing and can guide me through a journey.
So this is one of our other rooms. This is where we have all our toys. So like before session, we'll come and pick the toys we want, whether it's something like paddles or floggers. And then this is Castigate. This is one of my favorite rooms. It's one of my favorite rooms.
Huge.
So we have a spanking bench. We have another couch. This is one of my favorites. This is a bondage table. So you can like use this for all kinds of stuff, for tickling, there's a cage. I've never like used this part, but you could essentially have somebody like their butt or their dick or whatever. But this is just fun because there's the bondage hardware on both sides, so you can get creative and have people all kinds of different.
Were you nervous about getting involved in this world? Just because I don't know, like that, like if you came from a vanilla lifestyle and then entered this world, like were you scared at all?
Yeah, I would say I was. I had an idea of how I wanted things to go, and I really believed that it could either go that way or I could be completely wrong, and maybe I wouldn't be confident enough to handle situations or confident enough to say no. And thankfully, it has gone how I thought it would, which is so cool. From day one has felt empowering and safe and consensual, and I have told my family what I do, and it's been funny both with them and friends that all know that usually people have the reaction of they're worried about safety, about how I'm being treated, and to me, I'm I have never felt safer or more empowered around adult humans in my life. This has been the best place for me. And again, not just working professionally, but the way that it's affected my personal life has been so positive. To be engrossed in a culture that is based on consent, is based on negotiation, is based on communication.
So beautifully said. And I do think a lot of the audience is still learning that BDSM is all about consent, and that conversations are had beforehand and there are safe words involved. Has there ever been a situation where someone hasn't obeyed that?
Where they have not obeyed it? I have had to, so with the safe words, we would use the green, yellow, and red. Green being things are great, yellow is pause and check in, red is stop everything. I have had to read one session, which was a scenario where we had negotiated the scene, and then during the scene, they were kind of testing what we negotiated, and I yellowed them in those cases and communicated, like, we didn't agree to this, and if it happens again, like, I'm going to end the session. And so then they did test that again, and I followed through on what I said. I ended it. They weren't happy about it, but it was nice that, again, working in this space, all I had to do was open the door, and then I had 7 badass, fierce women to come and help me deal with that person.
That is so great. So there's no security here, though, right? There's not like a man here to make sure you're safe.
Not official security, although one of our desk mistresses is a former pro wrestler, so we've got that going for us.
I love that. I noticed there's cameras in the office, too, of everyone coming in and out and stuff, but that's probably for your safety as well, I'm assuming.
Yes, and with that, and that client in particular is somebody who we were able to then use that footage to, blacklist them, and that they are someone that, because they broke the rules and didn't, they're unsafe to play with, they are not allowed back.
If anybody downstairs hears the slightest thing going wrong, you're going to have a whole room full of girls in here who know how to use whips and paddles and a whole bunch of really mean things. Most of the gentlemen don't push boundaries. Every now and then we do have a bad egg, and we do handle the situation and make sure that the girl's safety is there.
Do you feel safe in this environment?
1,000%. Like, we're definitely taught to advocate for ourselves, which is important, but everybody downstairs has my back, you know? And we're always aware of what's going on in sessions. Lark or Crystal, who run the front desk, they're going to be knowing when we're in session, for how long, and, like, if something's up, they'll check on us. Also, these walls are, like, not that thin, so if I was like, help, like, people would come, you know? I
just think of you tied up to this thing and, you know, something's going down, and it's like, there's no cameras in here, are there?
No, there's not. But again, like, we have, you know, there's always someone who knows what we're doing. One of the things I think about just like sex and BDSM is, like, you learn through experience. So, like, you're not going to necessarily know that something makes you uncomfortable until it does. And then all you can do is, like, figure out what's best for you in that situation and move forward with it.
Do you wish there were cameras?
Not really, honestly. Like, yeah, things do go down, but, like, it's never gotten, like, as long as I know, it hasn't ever gotten violent. But I feel, for the most part, like, I feel very safe here. I actually would argue that I feel more safe here than somewhere like a club, like a strip club. Like, I've been to strip clubs where, like, people have just, like, wandered in and nobody's, like, searched them and stuff, and I'm like, they could have a gun, you know? Like, here, I think that, like, people deal with more, like, shame than anything, but I feel very safe. I feel more safe in an environment like this than I do being independent and going somewhere and being by myself with somebody, you know?
You were saying that sometimes clients will try to take pictures of you guys?
Yeah, it's kind of like a recent thing where clients will, like, secretly take photos. So, and that's happened, like, at strip clubs too. Like, there's now, like, these, like, Ray-Bans that have a camera in them, which is just so fucked. Like, that just, like, ew.
And so they'll come into the club with the glasses on and be recording the dancers without their consent.
Yeah, or people do that with their phones and stuff, you know, like, here people have been doing that, and it's like, for me, like, because I have an OnlyFans, like, if you want to take photos or videos, I'm gonna charge you more, but I'm fine with that. Some girls don't like that at all, you know, so it's a personal thing, but, like, we just have to be, like, really aware, you know?
So this is our last room, chamber.
The
history of this room is actually quite interesting. Legacy comes from people who used to work at a place called the Dominion, which was formerly Lady Laura's. When Lady Laura passed away, Hillary took over, and then when the Dominion closed, Legacy opened up in a new location. However, this room was designed by Lady Hillary.
Oh.
So this is an ode to a true legacy.
People could wear these?
Yes. We have some dress-up stuff going on over here.
I love it. Do you ever dress up?
I do not, unless it is a request, but it has to be 24 hours in advance, and I tend to come as is.
Another thing I'm curious about is the money aspect of this job. Mm-hmm. Are you guys allowed to talk about how much sessions cost? Is that public information?
Yeah, it's advertised on our site. Would you like me to state
I would love that.
Sure. So it is $200 for half an hour. It is $325 for an hour. And then when it builds, like, it builds on itself. So if you're increasing, let's say you want to do an hour and a half session, that's going to be $325 for the hour and $200 for the half hour, $525. Versus if you did 2 hours, it'd be $325 times 2.
And that's going to the studio, and then they're paying you an hourly, or how does that work?
So it's just a portion goes to the studio and a portion goes to us.
Do you talk about what percentage goes to the studio or not?
Again, I think I can, but because I haven't cleared that with the dungeon owner, I'd rather not say, if that's all right.
Of course. Sorry, I'm just like, I'm curious. I
You're
know.
all good. That's the thing. You're allowed to ask a question, and I'm allowed to say no, because we love consent and respecting boundaries.
Totally. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to feel comfortable to ask anything. And I always say no if it's too much. I'm just like trying to get in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're a switch, right?
I am a switch.
What is a switch?
So a switch means that in a session, I can either be the dominant role or the submissive role, or, my favorite, switch it up within the scene. And so one of my favorite kind of ways to play that out is the concept of overpowering. So I do a lot of scenes where I might start in the more like submissive role, also bottoming, like I'm receiving something, and then during the scene, I will overpower the person that's doing that to me, and then I'll put them in the same position they had me in, and now I'm doing it back to them.
So you were saying you're really into ball and cock play?
Yeah, ball and cock torture, or cock and ball torture, CBT, not cognitive behavioral therapy.
That would make me scared as a person, like with cock and balls, have someone play with it, because I'd be worried I'd get hurt.
Cock and balls can take a lot more than people think. Like, I love like tying a and ball up and then like flogging it, kicking it. It's one of those things that I feel like people are like either really into it or they're not, you know?
But you're into like the harm of it all, right?
I'm into playing with pain 1,000%. Like, I just also like, as a woman, I think it's really healing to like torture a cock for money. It's awesome.
I feel like impact play seems like the most dangerous form of play, though, right?
Yes, like sensory deprivation can definitely get like dangerous as far as like wearing leather hoods. And I'm also very into like heavy leathers, like leather hoods, cuffs, all those kinds of things. That too gets dangerous when you're like, we don't really do a lot of breath play here because of that. But impact play is definitely dangerous. That's why you want to know how to like direct it when you're receiving it, and you want to know how to do it as a top. Here we have to like pass a test to become a switch if we want to become dominatrixes, like, and have sessions where we're doms and be like a switch like I am. You have to show that you have the skill set to do that safely. Like, I have to show that like I know how to tie your hands in ropes without cutting off circulation, and I know what part of your body's to hit, and that I have the aim to know how to do that well. So like those are all things that like I work on as a skill, like personally, to make sure that I can do that here in like a really high caliber way.
I'm more concerned about the men that are coming in here wanting to do impact play on a woman and wanting to smack you or whatever. Like, some of them are consensual, I'm sure, but then are any of them ever just like wanting a dangerous situation with a female?
Honestly, I feel like most of the times what it is men will come and see like the submissives that are new and try to get away with like groping them and like being really touchy. Like, they'll be like, oh, I want to spank you, and they just like grab your boobs and your butt, and like technically like fondling is not allowed here. I think it's more of that, honestly. Like, I have had the one client that I low-key just like never saw again or like blacklisted was someone who told me how he took his aggression out on sex workers. So he was like, oh, if I had a bad day, I would have been like meaner to you.
That's what I'm talking about, those kind of guys.
That is just like not BDSM, right? BDSM is active consent, and when you're doing this, like, you might be channeling some kind of like rage, right? Like, I might be in a scene where like I'm thinking about like the wrongs of the patriarchy and like hitting somebody, but I'm never going to hit them from being mad. I'm never going to be like, I'm so angry at you, let me hit you. That's abuse, right? We come in here with like understanding that we want that. Like, I like being hit. Like, I want you to hit me hard, but I'm going to do it in an environment that feels safe, that I know that you can like at least be open to learning.
When I got into this, I was not planning to like advertise as gender fluid, and was actually planning to use this as a way to kind of heal my relationship with my feminine identity. And I actually saw when I was writing my bio for the website that they already had a section for gender nonconforming professionals. And the moment I saw that, I was like, I have to be me. I have to be honest about this. And even on my first day, I remember the owner and desk mistress were fully supportive of it, and just wanted to give me the heads up. They were like, just so you know, like, that's not something people have heard of. That's something that it might end up costing you clients. And it really was just something I'm so proud of within myself, like just that moment of conviction of I trust that I'm going, like me putting it out there is going to make me a beacon to draw in the type of people that I want to see. And I'd much rather have that than be confined or be forced to hide this part of my identity.
What's your favorite thing about Sam?
The communication and respect. When I have a sub in my care, it is my responsibility to care for and provide for that sub. And they are giving me their submission as a gift. I value that. And there is a whole world of respect that goes on between the two.
I always struggle with favorites because there is just so much to love. I think one of my favorite things has been the celebration of my authenticity, the celebration of the improv concept of yes and, that there's so many things that to be able to collaborate with someone to, I know I keep saying it, but it's because it's true, make them feel safe, to open up, to not be judged. And again, like that, like healing for that inner child in me as well, that was judged as a kid for just being different for various reasons.
You are truly like a wealth of knowledge. I mean, I feel like I could talk to you for hours, and I so appreciate you being so honest. Like, we have got to do more episodes together because I think my audience could learn so much from you, just like I did. Like, I really thank you for educating me so much. Let me just take this camera and finish it off over here with you guys. So, so I really thank you so much, truly.
No, this was such a joy. You asked such thoughtful questions, and you gave me a space to talk about something that's like stigmatized, that so many people are judgmental about without any of that. So thank you for allowing me to be an open book.
Thank you so much. Good job.
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, this is so fun.
Okay, good.